Over the weekend, Donald Trump launched his biggest military operation since he returned to office. Iran said US strikes hit the Yemeni capital, Sana'a, killing a reported 53 people, including 5 children. Dr. Fawaz Gerges, professor of IR at LSE, what's your reaction to that?
Well, I think this escalation has the potential to open a new front in the Middle East. The Trump administration has made it very clear that's an open-ended front, that it will not stop attacking the Houthis in Yemen unless the Houthis basically stop attacking the shipping lanes in the Red Sea. And we know that the Houthis won't stop attacking the shipping lanes in the Red Sea unless there's a ceasefire in Gaza. So Gaza is it. Also, I'm a bit anxious about the Trump administration links the new front in Yemen to Iran. It seems to me that the Trump administration wants to send a powerful message to Iran that what's happening in Yemen could happen to you. You have to come and sit down and talk about your nuclear program. So it's a very high-risk strategy. And this strategy could have major implications for regional stability.
Do you think that this escalation in rhetoric, that we could see a moment in which Iran chooses to directly retaliate?
I don't expect Iran to directly retaliate against the United States. In fact, Iran is going out of its way not to be dragged to war either with Israel or the United States. Iran is trying to really weather the storm. Iran wants a way out, and Iran has made it very clear it does not really want a confrontation with the United States. But it seems to me that President Trump and his security and foreign policy team want to exert pressure on Iran in order to sit down and basically try to end its nuclear program. And they have made it very clear that the new front they have opened against the Houthis in Yemen is designed to increase the volume of pressure on Iran. So really, it's not just about the Houthis, it's about Iran as well.
Interestingly, Trump is set to speak with Putin tomorrow to discuss the Ukrainian ceasefire deal, but we know that Russia has deep interests in the Middle East, military cooperation with Iran, and an increasing dependence on Iran for military hardware. Will the US actions towards the Houthis have any impact on the US-Russia relations?
Well, let me reframe the question and say that the new relationship, the new close relationship between President Trump and Putin has basically turned Russia into a mediator between the United States and Iran. Putin has very close relations with Iran, strategic relations. Iran has supplied Russia with major ammunition and missiles and drones. So what Russia is trying to do is to really play the role of mediator between the United States and Iran to bridge the divide. In fact, the foreign secretary, Russia's foreign secretary and his American counterpart have spoken about Yemen. And Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister, impressed on his American counterparts the need to de-escalate. So it seems to me that the Russians are trying to play the role of mediator between the United States and Yemen, but more importantly, between the United States and Iran.
How much of a change in world order is that which you've just laid out there from how the Biden administration were operating in the region?
Well, really, what the Russian-American relationship under President Trump represents a sea change. You really have, this is a transformative moment. The United States now is closer to Russia than its former traditional European allies, particularly the Ukraine. And this tells you about the sea change that Donald Trump has really ushered in American foreign policy. And that's why America's traditional European allies are extremely concerned and extremely anxious that the closeness of Russia's relation with Donald Trump could have major implications on global security and the nature of the international system.
You've spoken about how these strikes are sort of a proxy to get Iran to come to the table to negotiate over its nuclear power. But your new book, What Really Went Wrong, The West and the Failure of Democracy in the Middle East, explores how US foreign policy in the region has largely been determined by which path best allows uninterrupted flows of oil. Is that at play behind Trump's decisions that he's taken over this weekend to strike the Houthis?
Well, I mean, if you read President Trump's tweets, he made it very clear the reason why he's opening a new front against Yemen, it's because of shipping lanes. He said we lost billions of dollars. We want to make sure that the shipping lanes are open. We want to make sure that trade and oil and energy pass by the Red Sea. So for President Trump, it's all about the money. You follow the trail of money. It's about trade. He said we lost billions of dollars. So really, in a way, Donald Trump is one of the few American presidents who is very blunt, who's very direct. He says, yeah, it's all about energy, it's all about money, and that's why we are going to bomb the Houthis till eternity, unless they stop their bombings of the Red Sea and the shipping. So this is really classical American foreign policy. Energy and oil are the most important assets and key drivers behind American foreign policy from the 1950s up till the present.
And my final question to you will be, earlier I spoke to the former UK ambassador to Yemen, who said that behind the strikes this week was that the US was concerned with the Houthis' violation of international law. Do you think that was a motivation in Trump's decision to strike at all?
Well, I think the United States is mainly interested in the free trade, in the Red Sea and the Oman and the Sea of Oman. I don't think we're talking about international law, even though the Houthis have violated international law. I don't think President Trump gives a damn about international law. I don't think President Trump cares about the rules-based society. I don't think President Trump even thinks about international law. The reality is this is all about trade. It's all about money. It's all about energy. It's about basically the role that the United States would like to have in the Middle East.
Dr. Gerges, thank you so much for joining us today.